Also, you know, if you want to pick out a certain area, we can sort of weather that up a little bit more, maybe just around our gun ports here again, you know, coming in, doing some final post shading here, getting that biting point, and we can literally sort of target a certain couple of panel lines and really sort of maybe just darken these up that bit more noticeable than the rest of the weathering on the model. Right, and I'm just making a couple of passes here because, you know, this ink mixture here is very thinned down, so you know, I know it's black, but it's so thinned down it's not going to sort of all of a sudden be, you know, instant coverage black, boom, there you go. You know, a couple of passes to build it up, which also, you know, stops you from sort of making nasty mistakes and going too far. You know, if you're going to make a couple of passes, it just allows you to build it up slowly and you don't get those mistakes. And as you can see, you know, it just darkens up maybe that little bit of an area there. We can also come back here to the tail section and just darken up the tail sections, you know, showing that little bit of extra wear there. Now, another thing I like to do is as well is with decals. Decals, as you can see there, they're like really sort of in your face bright, especially, you know, these yellows and whites. I like to just sort of, you know, do a quick sort of spray around, very sort of squiggly, very quick, right, no messing about, and it just slightly dulls them back a bit. Not so much that you sort of really sort of, you know, darken it down, but that little spray over, as you can see there, made all the difference. Again, you know, we've got some bits here as well, a little bit of a spray over the decal just to sort of knock that back that little bit. Right, and let's get the other side as well. As you can see, that's quite yellow, and then we sort of knock this back just that little bit, and there you go, just sort of blends it in a little bit more. Oh, now that's just spat out then, as you can see on that little bit there. Get a cotton wool bud, we can just quickly sort of wipe that up, wiping it in the direction of the airflow, so, you know, if we still have some of it left behind, hopefully it'll create a streak. Right, and that probably means that the tip of my airbrush could maybe do with a bit of a clean. Right, maybe just quickly blast some through as well, so we don't get any more nasty surprises like that. Right, again, you know, that's quite white and bright, and that little bit of a spray back just to sort of knock back the decal a little bit. Right, and there we go. I mean, we're probably, you know, looking all good there. We do also have the cockpit area where the actual canopy moves up and down. We can sort of get in there, get in that biting point, and just lightly build this up to look a little bit darker than the rest. Right, because I mean, that's going to be moving up and down across there, all sorts of chipping and weathering going on inside there. And there we go. I'll just finish the rest of this now off camera. Right then, let's do the last bit of weathering here, which is some nice pigments, just to create a sense of a bit of dirt and mud, sort of building up where the crew get in and out. I like to use MIG Productions, which is dark mud, and we've also got dry mud. And just in case, I've got a little bit of smoke here by AK Interactive, just in case we want to sort of really darken it up. First things first, let's get a bit of this, the lighter colour, which was, sorry, I forgot what that was called again. That was dry mud, but I'm starting off with it onto my kitchen paper towel. Right, we don't want to just whack this right down onto the model straight away, because we just don't want to just kill it straight away. With a bit on our paintbrush now, we sort of want to just sort of like dab this down in and around the area we want. So I'm just thinking about where them all sort of getting in there and climbing up where all this chipping is, which if you thought it was a little bit too intense, you know, we are knocking this back now, and we just sort of want to lightly work our way up the actual side just a bit, not as much as actually on the wing, but a little bit just working our way up there. And then we can come in again with now the dark mud and just sort of work that on top of there as well. Right, and when it comes round to putting a matte coat on top of this, it will sort of knock this back a little bit, so you want to sort of go a little bit more, you know, weather this a little, just a little bit more than you want it to be. Right, get some more of this darker mud. There we go. Yeah, just weather a little bit more than you want it to be, because it will sort of knock back a little bit. Right, and then you might just want to, just off camera, sort of maybe get your airbrush and sort of blow the excess pigments off of there, and hopefully, as you can see, that just gives us that lovely look of like dirt and mud off the ground on the boots, getting onto that wing of the aircraft there. I think maybe just a smidge of black, maybe just to give it a little bit. Right, again, we're just going to put this on the kitchen paper towel, and we're just going to just a little bit in places. Really be careful with the black. Right, I think that should do there for the black, that little bit there. Okay, and that should give us a nice sort of effect. So here we are, all nicely at the end of this rapid video build of our Spitfire and Hawker Hurricane by Airfix 148 scale. Now just let's have a nice quick little sort of look and a nice review of this build. Hopefully, as you can see, I do like the end results on the Hurricane. It really has made such a difference to do all this extra rivet work. It really does add so much more surface detail and makes it look a hell of a lot more professional, which is sort of like what the Airfix kits need. I do like the weathering. We've got the pigments down here and everything. As for the underside, if you remember, we were experimenting with doing a bit of a modulation type effect with the spraying on the underside. It's sort of like, I think it's potentially a personal choice. It is a slightly different way of getting a bit of a different effect. It does seem a bit more sharper. It has sort of like feathered down a little bit after doing the final post shadings and bits of pigments and streaking effects and everything, but it does still have, hopefully, as you've seen there, quite a bit of a sharp effect to it. So it's potentially not so realistic, but maybe going a bit more sort of fantasy style thing. But again, I think it's a personal choice. You may like it, you may want to try it out. Yeah, but I don't think it's going to replace good old-fashioned, you know, doing your pre-shading, bleaching and post-shading. But yeah, I do like the Hurricane. The Spitfire, on the other hand, we didn't go down the route of doing all that riveting, and hopefully you can really sort of see the difference by just looking at the wings here. Like, you know, it really does add so much more detail and oomph to the actual model, so it really does pay to put that extra sort of rivet work in there and get the surface detail looking cool. In the end, okay, I mean, you know, the Spitfire is looking, you know, rather cool. However, the building of the Spitfire, I didn't quite like 100%. It didn't seem to go together as well as the Hurricane did. So just to sort of quickly, let's have a quick recap if we get out the instructions here. Right, the cockpit section, that did seem to go together, you know, rather well, but when it came to actually you know, putting our two fuselage halves together, and then we put in this bit of an engine cowl section just here in, it just wasn't lining up that right. It left sort of steps and gaps. You know, it just didn't quite get there. And then when sort of like bringing the wings together and then the wings and the fuselage halves together, I mean, it just wasn't quite fitting, as nice as you want your models to fit. And, definitely nowhere near as like the Hurricane. The Hurricane, all the fits on that were just, it just went together absolutely beautifully. But the Spitfire was just slightly off here and there. And apart from that, the fit side of things, I think it would have benefited a lot from doing that bit of extra rivet work, because yeah, I mean, with with Airfix kits, they don't really seem to do a lot in the sides of riveting. Their recessed panel lines are normally sort of out of scale and a bit too sort of big for the actual aircraft. So doing a bit of surface work yourself, as you can see by the Hurricane, has really paid off. The Hurricane, if we sort of maybe quickly whiz through this, because there really wasn't any problems with the Hurricane. We did do a basic sort of cockpit bit of detail in there, but even though we did go sort of basic in regards to the cockpit, I don't know well you can sort of see in there, but actually it hasn't been terrible by doing that bit of a basic cockpit. I mean, we've still got a nice bit of detail going on in there, just enough to see that it looks detailed enough inside there. So that was quite good to do a quick easy cockpit going on, and all the landing gear that went on in there. As I say, it fitted absolutely lovely, didn't have any issues with it. And moving along, yeah, there wasn't any real problems. Just looking through the instructions, yeah, I mean, that was it. Hulk Hurricane is definitely a well recommended kit out there, because I know Atelier does one, and that one, to be totally honest with you, is horrible. I know Hasegawa does the Hawk Hurricane as well. I haven't actually seen that, but it is a bit of an older kit. I'm going to assume it goes together rather well, but then yeah, I mean, you can pick up Airfix kits quite cheap, so, and I've had no problems with this. Really love it, and definitely whack the rivet detail on there and you won't be sorry you didn't. The Spitfire, in the end, okay, it has turned out to be a rather good looking Spitfire. As you can see, it's not bad. It might have been a little problem sort of putting it together, but I've still managed to get it together rather well. But I just can't help think that there are so many other better Spitfires out there. For instance, we did do a step-by-step video build on Tamiya's Spitfire Mark 1 1/48 scale way back years ago, and that absolutely fit together like an absolute glove, and it is a well recommended kit for anyone who wants to get started with a hobby, and I want to really, when you get started with a hobby, picking up a nice quick easy kit that you can put together with no real issues, that is a fantastic kit for it. And it it looks better than this kit, and as I say, it's gone together as well just as good. Okay, the Airfix kit might be a bit cheaper, but you'll benefit more by going off and getting the Tamiya one. So that's my little bit on my sort of like final conclusion is, the Hurricane is absolutely smashing. The Spitfire, go off and get Tamiya if you're going to build a Spitfire Mark 1, because it still is like the best you can get 1/48 scale out there. So yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed our rapid video build here at Genesis Models, and hopefully you've learnt a lot from it. I know it was rapid video build style, so we didn't cover everything. Hopefully we just covered the interesting sort of intermediate advanced stuff, but I've enjoyed building it. It's nice to have like 2 models finished in one go. So until the next step-by-step video build here at Genesis Models, my name's Bobby Waldron, and I hope you've enjoyed.